The years really do start coming and they don't stop coming, huh? Well, that being said, let's go ahead and review 2025 very briefly and talk about the year ahead, 2026. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to How Bored. I am Christian, your host, and today, like I said, we're going to be reviewing my year of board gaming in 2025 and look forward to what we have in the year 2026. So I'm going to be fairly brief about the year of 2025 in terms of my gaming because most of what we're talking about is what we have going forward, but I'm going to use it to kind of set a precedent for how I am with this hobby. So in the year of 2025, I had a total of 969 logged plays. In terms of the games that I played throughout the year, my most played game, actually, my number one, was Deducto, which I got to exactly 50 plays thanks to my wife. We got the last one in. I was sitting at 49 for like a few months, but I might talk about that one in a separate video. Following that was Sea Salt and Paper at 40 plays, which was my copy that I gave to my dad because I didn't like how the game was, and then I kept playing it anyways. That was very early on in 2025. Following that immediately is Things and Rings at 39 plays because I am obsessed with that game. I love it, and I show it to pretty much everyone that I can because it's such an easy game to get into, but it's also so tough and challenging mentally, and it's just hilarious to see people's reactions when they figure out how the Venn diagrams work. After that was Slay the Spire at 35 plays. Now this one is probably a little bit scuffed because of how I logged my plays. Usually when I play Slay the Spire, if any of you are familiar with it, I go through one act at a time, I put away the game, and I come back to it later to pick up the next act or restart if I died. So I was logging each act as I played because they were about an hour to an hour and a half sessions, so I counted each one as a play. I know there's probably some people that would log a full run, and they wouldn't log it until then. So for some, that number might be a little bit skewed, but that is how I do it, and I've been consistently doing it that way, so it is logged as 35 plays. Then just after that is Dice Throne at 33, and I do not own a single box of Dice Throne at all. These were all through my dad, and he has gotten so obsessed with Dice Throne, which I can't blame him. It's not a bad game, it's just not typically my type of game. So I got sucked into playing it a lot, and I have kind of come back around on it. At first I really liked it, and then I started not liking it because my dice rolls in general are just terrible. I suck at dice games because my luck is awful, and then I started coming back around to it recently and just enjoying the fun of it and not really getting like too worked up about it, because at one point I was getting pretty upset playing Dice Throne because of how bad it was. A little bit further down we have Gentle Rain at 28 plays because that's a nice easy solo game you can bust out. Plays in like 15-20 minutes. It's a little bit challenging sometimes, a little bit punishing others, and then when you get those ones that really work, it feels very satisfying. After that is surprisingly Flip 7 at only 25. I really thought I had played this game a lot more, but it's a nice push your luck card game, kind of like a gamer's blackjack that's really easy to get into, doesn't take a whole lot of thought and understanding. You just pull in a card. If you bust, you bust. If not, you can keep going, and you can choose to either draw another card or stop and just collect your points right there. Very good time. I'm sure most people are familiar with Flip 7 at this point. Also, surprisingly, next is Trailblazers at 23 plays. I didn't realize I had played this game that many times, most of which were solo, because I've been trying to complete a lot of those scenarios, and it is very challenging, but also very rewarding when you finally get that scenario completion, and very mentally taxing game a lot of the time, I would say. And the last one here that I have on my stats showcase is Tinderblocks at 23 plays. I also didn't realize I had played it that many times either, but again, that's another one where I log each play, and each one's only like 5 minutes, so if I play it like 4 times back to back, each one of those is separately getting logged in my app. And for those of you that aren't aware, for tracking all of these stats, I use the app BG Stats, and I did pay the $5, I think, for the upgrade to be able to have a lot of extra features to it. It's treated me only well since I've gotten it, and I really do like it. I had like my board game library app at some point, and that was okay. This one works so much better, and it also links directly to your Board Game Geek if you have an account set up there, and if you want that feature, you can link it directly. But that's what I use. It has my collection, it has all of my plays, and it can show me these like layouts of stats. So if you're wondering what I'm using to do that, that's what it is the app BG Stats. Alright, so why is any of my year of 2025 important? Well, for one, I just wanted to talk about it because I love this hobby and I love talking about anything related to it, including, well, my consistency with the hobby over the last year. But I'm sure, as most of you are aware, we did just start a new year. It is now 2026, and a lot of board gamers are actually in the habit of creating goals for themselves throughout the year to kind of help them stay in with the hobby. For a lot of people, it's not really a struggle of like playing, but it kind of adds another level of gaming to your gaming, which is very cool. And it's something that I'm getting into now because it gives you like this extra level of completionist rating, where you can feel like there's actually something to playing these games outside of just playing them and enjoying them, which, don't get me wrong, I love just playing and enjoying games anyways, so this is just kind of an extra bonus for me. But I have 4 different goals laid out for myself to complete over the year of 2026. And like I mentioned in that insights, or in those insights and in those stats, that I had 969 plays. I was only 31 plays away from hitting 1,000 overall for the year. So my number one goal for 2026 is to actually hit 1,000. Now, I did have kind of an offhanded goal for myself last year that I wasn't really keeping track of. I just kind of let it happen. And I was basically trying to hit a play a day. So I wanted 365 plays over 365 days. I didn't have to actually do one play every day, but I just wanted to have it average out to a play a day because I thought that number was going to be really hard for me to hit, and then I almost tripled it. So here we are with trying to hit 1,000 plays over the year, which averages out to like roughly 3.25 plays every day, which has not really been hard to keep up with. So right now I'm recording this on January 5th. As of right now, I have 14 plays for this year, so I'm only about like 2 plays off from being at that quota roughly, given the time of year. I think I'll be able to keep up with it pretty well, especially since I just recently picked up a bunch of button shy games, which is, I know it's kind of cheating because they're usually pretty quick and easy to travel games, but I don't always get time to sit down and play a big game, especially now that I'm doing more content. This stuff does take up a lot more of my time than playing games does usually, so sometimes I have to sacrifice the big games just to get a few small games in and still be able to enjoy my time. So I apologize to anyone that thinks that stuff like this is a little bit of cheatery, but I do still log these as well because I'm playing a game, I'm having fun, I'm enjoying myself. I think it counts, so you know what? It's my challenge. But I actually have my planner right here, which has like my daily updates and stuff like that, so I can keep track of my to-do lists and what I have going on and things like that. So I added this in here to keep track of, and I actually have written out the months in order so I can add up the amount of plays I have per month on this sheet and then see what the final is at the end. So I can look back and see like, oh, that was a slow month, so I know that during that time I might not be playing as much on average, or maybe there was something going on that month that I didn't get as much time to play. I can kind of understand that. Or like that month I got a lot of bigger games played, so I didn't get as many overall plays, things like that. So that is my first challenge, is hitting 1,000 plays over the course of the year. I basically need under 100 plays per month, which I don't think is going to be too hard to hit with how I've been playing lately. I've definitely been getting sucked in a lot more to playing a lot more games. I kind of had a bit of a break last year where I was on a little bit of a hiatus. I wasn't really in the mood for playing games. I was just kind of not really excited for a lot of things, so I stopped playing for a lot of the time, and then I've started coming back into it over the last couple months, and it's really picked up a lot, and I've been really enjoying it. So that is my first challenge to myself. The next one is a 10x10. Gamers do this in all different sizes. I've seen 5x5, 7x7, just depends on your preference. So basically, you pick a certain number of games, 5, 7, 10, however many, and then you're going to try to play those games that many times. So in this case, I have 10x10, so I have 10 games that I want to play 10 times each. And this is typically a challenge used for players who want to actually dive more into their shelves and really explore certain games that maybe they haven't touched a whole lot of, and that's pretty much what I've used this as. Although the first like 4 games out of this are games that I don't have yet, but that are going to be showing up this year. So that's where a lot of the challenge is really going to come in for me. But for the games that I do have right now, I have Septima on here, which is a game I've only played like 3 or 4 times maybe over the course of the two-ish years that I've had it now. I really want to dig more into that game because I really do like it. It's gorgeous. It's got a fun theme to me anyways, and there's a lot there for the gameplay. I just really need to explore it more. And I will say now that all of these games are at least solo playable, so I can play them by myself and not need to worry about other people, because I know that was going to become a big restriction for me. If I needed something that needed at least 2 people, it was going to be a lot harder to keep up with. There is one exception to that on here, but I think I won't have a problem with that one, and we'll get to that soon. So Septima is one of them. I also have Wormspan, which I think I've played probably about the same time, or same amount of times as Septima. The box really gave me troubles looking at it every time I opened it, and I didn't want to set it up because it was such a mess, but I have an insert for it now, so it's much easier to get it to the table and play it, and it's a game I do enjoy, especially much more than Wingspan. I'm sorry, Wingspan enjoyers, it's just I don't care for that game. Wormspan fixes pretty much all the problems I had with Wingspan, so that's the one I'm going to be trying to dive into a bit more and get more familiar with. I also have Night Cage, which I just got my first play of this year last night. That's like one of the main horror-themed games that I have. I'm a big horror fan, for those who don't know. And so finding games in that genre that I'm going to enjoy are very difficult, especially ones that play solo. And Night Cage was one of the ones I picked up early on, and I've, again, only played it a handful of times. I really want to be more familiar with that game. I want to actually start diving into the extra stuff in there, because there's extra modules and an advanced mode in the base game that I haven't touched yet. I've only ever played base game, and I think that's why I haven't gone back to it, because I've been so intimidated by those modules, but now I have a reason to go back in and test them out and try them out. Even if I lose, it's still another play towards my 10x10, and that should hopefully incentivize me to bust it out more often. Next up is Final Girl. This is the only solo-only game on this list, and this is another horror-themed game that I've had for a while that I just don't play enough of. I have had more plays of this, admittedly, than any of the other games on this list so far. I think I've played it probably about 6 to 8 times, give or take, in total. But I have like 4 or 5 of the movie boxes, and I really need to explore this universe more. It's just so hard for me to get tempted to do it a lot of the time, because again, I know how bad my luck is with dice, and this is a purely dice-driven game. But if I accept it for just being a story and not really trying so hard to win, I mean, I'm still going to try to win, obviously, but I'm not going to work myself up if I can see that I'm losing and it's not going to work out the way I want. Sometimes the final girl doesn't always live. It happens. Movies can twist your expectations, and so too can games. That is very much allowed. And this is going to be a way to teach myself to be more accepting of that by being graceful with my losses in these games, because losing in Final Girl really hurts when you put in all that work, you save all the people, it's down to just you and the killers, and you just can't get through it. So I am going to dive more into that myself, and I'm going to count any of the different boxes that I play just to get me more into the game, more into the system itself, and be more appreciative of what it's there for, telling a story first and foremost. So that is that game, Final Girl. Next up is Endeavor Deep Sea. I have the expansion coming for it this year. I was able to get on the late pledge for it last year, so I have the expansion coming. I'll count plays with or without it, but I have played this about 5 or 6 times now, I want to say, maybe a little bit more than that. I just got it last year, and it's been a ton of fun, but I have been slacking on pulling it out lately, again, because of setup reasons, but I think I can get to a point where I can get myself over that and just enjoy the game for what it is. I do still love playing it. I just think about setting it up sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that right now, but then I will go and set up more ridiculous games, so I don't know what my excuse is on that one. I need to play it more. This is my reason to do it, and it'll be my reason to really get into the expansion once it shows up, but I want to get a few plays before that happens, make sure I'm really familiar with the base game, and then I'll add in the expansion and get going on there. And I know from what I've heard, the expansion is supposed to really help the solo and co-op modes, which are my preferred way of playing that game. It just seems a lot more challenging to me, so I'm very excited to have that in my hands. Next up is the last game that I actually currently have in my hands right now, and that is Knitting Circle. I also just got a play of this last night. I have Calico. I've played that so many times. I love Calico. It's one of my wife's favorite games, if not her favorite, hands down. You're just making cozy quilts for cats, and it's a great time. It's a nice tile-laying puzzle game that I really enjoy. Knitting Circle is not at all like Calico, but it is a much more accessible and easy game. And I think where it's going to thrive is in the scenarios, so this gives me incentive to dive into those scenarios and really explore this game once again, because otherwise I just don't really have much reason to bust it out. My wife doesn't care for it, my parents don't care too much for it. It's just kind of an okay game, but I think if I get myself playing solo and I really go for those scenarios and really try to challenge myself on it, I think it'll become much more interesting, and maybe I'll learn some things about the game that I'm like, hey, I just kind of overlooked that when I started playing. But it was a game I backed on Kickstarter. I really want to enjoy it. I really want to get love out of it. I think as long as I get these 10 plays out of it, I will have gotten my money's worth. Again, I've already played it a few times. Again, all of these games that I have right now, I have already played. I don't have a shelf of shame. Pretty much as soon as I get a game, I'm playing it if I'm able to. I have like one unplayed game on my shelves, and I'm actually trying to get rid of it right now because it's just not my type of game. I don't know why I got it. It was a bad buy, but you know how that is. It happens. So that is, again, the last one that I have in person right now. So I have a total of 6 games that I can get working on my 10x10 right now. And again, I already have 2 going. So 98 more plays to go. We'll get there. Septima is probably going to be the hardest one because that is the heaviest game of those 6, so I need to get working on that as soon as possible when I get the chance. And next up on the list is Sweetlands, which I'm going to get, I think, around the August-September area is when it's expected to arrive. This is another title from Uchi Bakoya, designed by Tatsuka Shuo. Again, sorry for the pronunciation if I get that completely wrong. I'm not the best at pronunciation. I'm better at spelling than anything. But it's a very heavy Euro game based on a very nice theme where you're trying to build out a sweet empire. And there's a lot of different mechanisms going on. A lot of people have attributed this game to being kind of a designer's homage to all of these other games. There's elements of like Terraforming Mars, Castles of Burgundy, all sorts of different games kind of implemented like parts of those into this game to make this one cohesive experience. Tatsuka Shuo is like my favorite designer of all time. His games are just awesome. They flow really well. They have a lot of interconnectivity between everything that you're doing, and there's like never one solid path to go down to victory. You can kind of mix and match, or there's so many ways to approach his games, but everything flows so seamlessly and plays so well. My number 1 game of all time currently, if you've watched my top 20 video, is well, if you haven't seen it, go watch that first. Go check the card up here in the corner. But my number 1 game of all time is Ostia, which was also the same designer, same publisher, and I think even the same box size, roughly. So I'm really looking forward to Sweetlands. I've watched a ton on it, and it looks exactly up my alley in terms of games that I want. So I don't think getting 10 plays of that by the end of the year is going to be a problem, other than time constraints, but I'm going to want to play that game so much because it is so exciting. Next up is Layers. This is a game I was supposed to already have. It was initially estimated for December of 2025. It had some pushbacks, so now I'm hoping to get it this month, but it might not show up until February. We'll see how things go there. A lot of shipping issues lately, so I'm not too surprised that one got delayed. I'm not mad about it. I'm just waiting on it now, so that one should hopefully show up soon. That is the only one on my list that is not a solo playable game. It does require at least 2 people. The version that I got, I think, can do 2 to 4, which I'm very excited about, but it's basically just battleship dungeons. Like, both people build a dungeon, and the other player has to go through their dungeon to beat monsters, get some loot, and get out before the other person. So, very fun game. I'm really looking forward to actually playing this game. And again, I don't think it'll be too much of a problem to get those 10 plays, especially with how early in the year I should be getting my copy. So crossing my fingers that I get that soon and I can start playing it, because I really, really want to play that game. Next up is Deep Regrets. This is actually a gift from my wife for my birthday, which is in April. This is expected to deliver around the March area, I believe, like towards the end of March maybe. But I'm getting the game, the expansion, and also the Button Shy copy, Shallow Regrets, with its expansions. I'm very, very excited for Deep Regrets. I've had my eye on this for so long now, and when the Kickstarter came up last year, I was like, dang, I shouldn't really do it right now. My wife's like, let me just get it for you for your birthday, because it's going to get here about the right time. So I was like, you know what? I'm down with that. So Deep Regrets, that one I should not have a problem getting to 10 plays with. I know the solo is much different than the multiplayer, but I'm looking forward to both, in all honesty. I'm quite excited to get this game going. and I really don't think it'll be too hard to get to the table. It's a simpler game compared to most of what I play. It's like pretty much straight in the middle, medium complexity, so I'm totally down with that. The last game on my 10x10 is Andromeda's Edge. This one is supposed to show up about in the summer as well, I think towards the tail end, about August again. But this is another one I've been really looking forward to. The Genesis campaign happened last year for the expansion, so of course I went and got the game, I got the expansion, got all the good stuff coming for that. I'm super, super excited to play Andromeda's Edge. It looks like such a fun game. Just enough Euro, just enough Ameritrash. It's chef's kiss. I'm very excited for that. And honestly, most of those last 4 games I can expect to end up in my top 10 by the end of the year. I have a sneaking suspicion that Sweetlands might replace Ostia, but we'll let time tell on that one. So that is my 10x10 challenge. I know I spent kind of a while on that. I'm sorry. I just like to ramble. Again, I like talking about this hobby. I get very excited about games, playing them, talking about them, and being involved in community. So here we go. My third challenge is probably the hardest challenge that I have on this list, and that is the no more than 10 games purchased. Now, I do have some kind of leeway on here. I'm not including gifts from other people, and I'm not including games that I backed or ordered last year that are expected to show up this year. Those are not counting. If I order a game this year and it's not expected to show up till next year, I will count that, though. Basically, if I paid for a game this year, it counts towards these 10. And so far I have one, and that is Expeditions, because Stonemaier just recently announced that they're going to be having a 1-to-2 player, like, Scythe versus Expeditions game. Scythe is my number 2 game of all time currently, and so I had to get Expeditions to have the Expeditions side of this duel game that's coming up. I don't necessarily think that Expeditions will end up in even my top 20 games of all time by the end of the year. That could change, we'll see. I remember looking at it in the past and not being super thrilled by it, which is why I went for Scythe instead. So not off to a great start. I got 11 more months, or 11 and a half more months still, more than that even, to only get 9 more games at most, and I already have at least 2 of them planned, one of them being that Scythe duel game, so we'll see how that challenge goes. That will definitely be my hardest one, but this is a way to just kind of limit myself and be smarter about my budget and not, like, going overboard in getting new games. I'm already at, like, 130 games total right now, including expansion, so it's like 103 without, I think. But I have a lot of games, and I want to maybe start purging some of those, make way for more games, and also not fill up my shelves too fast so that I don't have to deal with overflowing issues. But that is going to be the hardest one to keep up with, unfortunately. Alright, and my fourth and final challenge, which honestly kind of isn't really a challenge, it's more of just a progress tracker. I've been talking about my top 20 games of all time. This is my top 20 in review. So each month I have all 20 of those games. You can't really see it at all, but I have all 20 games written out on this page here with columns set up for each month. And I'm going to, as time goes on, see where those games still rank in my top 20, or if they even stay on the list at all. Again, I have several games coming that are definitely going to edge out some of these other ones that are on this list. Like, I don't think Place for All My Books and Gazebo are going to hang out here. Things and Rings might even get bumped. Maybe Apiary. We'll see how things go. I have some really good stuff that coming this year that I'm super excited for. I'm starting to get into the heavier, deeper games that I've really been wanting to since I started the hobby. I just wanted to get myself more familiar with gaming first, and now I'm definitely at the point where I can really start diving into the bigger, heavier stuff that I really want to play. So some of the lighter games are probably going to get bumped off this list. But this will be a way, again, to track month by month the standing for each game. So I put their initial standing on the very left behind their name, so I know what they were at when I started the year. And then in January, February, March, so on and so forth, I'll come back in and I'll check to see where I think they still fit into everything. If they're still on the list, if they go up or down, so on and so forth. So that is my 4 challenges for the year of 2026, excuse me. That is what I have going on for this year in gaming. Again, I got several good games coming. I got Lairs, Deep Regrets, Andromeda's Edge, Sweetlands, and then a couple other games that I still plan on backing yet. I think they're going to be showing up this year. Don't quote me on that, though. I don't remember what their Well, one of them has an estimated delivery time for this year. The other one I actually don't know about. That one might be a year out yet, so we'll see on that one. But I got a lot of cool stuff coming, and I got a lot of cool stuff coming for this channel as well, not just game-wise. Once a few more things show up, I'm going to start doing some playthroughs, some reviews, and some how-to-plays for you guys. Really just a way for me to, like, pick a game and just dive on into it fully through and through, so you guys can get the full process beginning to end and really be able to tell if a game is worth it for you to add to your collection. So that is all I got for you guys today. I'm going to stop rambling now. I'm going to let you go on about your day. Thank you so much for showing up, and hopefully I see you around here in the future. This has been How Bored. I am Christian, and I'll see you next time. Peace.